Welcome back to FVC Season 6 for round number 7 of the season. First time for the new FVC invert format. No qualifying, instead a reverse championship standings. Two drivers already getting disqualified from the formation lap of Satimol and IX Finnell. Psycho will lead the grid away for the formation lap around the French circuit of Paul Ricard. 15 turns, 6 to the left, 9 to the right, 2 DRS zones take over this very long and very variable track at that. 167 different combinations this track can take. Running down the rest of the grid, Sass will take in 2nd place, Pixels in 3rd, Finnell will be down in 4th place. 5th place goes to Eldorado 2009 and 6th for FV Alexi. 7th and 8th are locked out by the Alpines of OJ English and Sam Vicker 467, and 9th place goes to Curly7 in the AlphaTauri. 10th place is Mr. Alan Toast with 11th going to the Alfa Romeo of Treeboy 53. The car's now going through the back straight off the circuit, the second DRS zone between this turn and the chicane. 12th place, the Red Bull of Apex down for 13th in the Haas is Blyappa. 14th will go to JL Broughton, very high up in the championship, and the championship leader of Houseman starting in 15th place. New debut driver in the season of LCR Mulder 28 for Ferrari will be starting in last place due to not having started a race previously in this season. Drivers making their way around the final few corners now. We'll take a look at our previous pole position. Scarly 42 locking out Season 5 and Season 4 here, however isn't racing today due to internet issues. All the way back in the 2021 Summer Series, Wolfraven 24 did take pole position, the first public race here, and in Season 2, the pole position was taken by FV Pixels. Drivers making their way around turn number 15 now, nearly a hairpin right-hander for the long run down to a very fast turn 1 and 2. Once again, the invert format could cause a very interesting race as some of the drivers further back having to make possibly desperate moves in the 27 laps upcoming to get any position, but it is also going to be very, very close up near the front, especially in the first few corners. We're getting underway very soon. Can't see the red lights from where we are on this camera angle. Just light and away we go, looking to be about an equal start for the front row. The Alfa Romeo in the back going to be a very good start. Psycho's got the better, they're going to be going 4 wide heading towards turn 1. Pixels just getting a much better launch, heading up into 3rd place. Even there, Sass in 4th place, but off the track goes Sass. Following behind is Alexi in the McLaren. Ball is flying everywhere. The Williams of Finnell already up to 2nd. Dorado to 3rd. The Alpines making a couple of moves as well in the background. Falling down the field, there goes Alexi. And there's already crashed. Alexi down to the section. One car retirement, another with a broken front wing of Broughton Apex as well, looking to get away without any damage, but there's going to cause an immediate virtual safety car for that within the first lap. Up at the front of the field, Psycho managed to hold position. Finnell moving to 4th and Dorado in, or Finnell in 2nd, sorry, and Dorado in 3rd. Not enough cars to cause a restart there, I don't think. Apex over in the Red Bull reporting floor damage. Only one car though. Race will continue going as is. Another big gain though, however, from that starting issue as we go back to green flag is going to be Alan Toast in 5th place. Carl is going sideways around the hairpin there, coming around the corner. A very opportune restart point for some. Psycho already pulling out a 1.4 second lead up at the front. Curly as well moving up to 6th place. Mulder already up to 13th after starting last. Here comes Dorado having looked on the inside of Finnell, a bit of contact. Not going to be able to make anything happen there. Into pit lane goes Sam Baker. He's going to be falling down the order quite a bit. 148.0 to set the pace. However, that is the virtual safety car. Here comes Dorado once again, having looked on the inside of Finnell. Not going to be able to make it work. The soft car entirely able to just break later for the Williams. However, Dorado has a much better run throughout the second corner. Does get blocked up behind just a little bit from the Williams. The McLaren of Allen and Pixel still looking as well in the background for any mistake. Another look on the inside for Dorado. Finnell defending perfectly, driving in the middle of the road, not able to pull any position past for any of the cars. However, a long straight now from defend. You can only do one move as well. Allen gets his Pixels behind, will jump on board the McLaren. A little bit too far back for any of them. to think of making a move, depending on the solution. No, Dorado might have a look down the inside, heading to the chicane. Blowing out to the left-hand side of the track. Hammer doesn't move, but he's not going to be close enough. Does knock over the bollard into the corner. Alan keeps the position ahead of Pixels. Now it is a second section of the straight for Finnell to try and defend from. Psycho running away now 2.4 seconds ahead, up at the front. Finnell's going to be fighting for his life through the ending stages of this track. Williams does seem to be a little bit better in the straight line. He's able to keep his distance away from the Mercedes through the straights of Sector 2 into the start of Sector 3. Dorado having a look for any way he can go. However, just not having as much grip. Finnell on the soft compound tires. Those tires are saving a little bit. Another contact there for Dorado running to the back of Finnell. A lot of oversteer coming around the final corner. That could set him up perfect for Alan. It does. Alan's going to get through into third place. 1:34.270, the first fastest flying lap of the race, and DRS will be getting enabled. It's 1:33.6 now for Blah, down in 7th in the Haas. DRS will be getting enabled, and Finnell will have to start looking in the mirrors just a little bit more down the straights. That depends on if he can keep this position up until the start of Sector 2. McLaren looking much better through the corners and seeing much better lines. Alan setting himself up to move. Going to try the inside through the end of 6 into the outside for turn 7. He will have DRS on the Williams down the straight. Depends, however, how much speed does the Williams have. It's not going to be enough. Pull into the inside goes Alan. Going to be side by side with the chicane. Bit of contact. Finnell has to take the escape road. Finnell will get a penalty for corner cutting. Stays in second. Has a half-second lead. Will be falling back. Possibly gets to leave overtake. Gets repassed by Alan. Pixels also coming up into third place. Down to fourth though as Dorado moves up. And Alan gets potentially a legal overtake. Having to drop back to fourth. To fifth as the Williams panel gets back. And OJ is going to be right there on the inside of Blah and Haas. There are 6 cars going for second place. OJ shuffled to the outside line through turn 12. Having to concede that position to Blah and Haas, but well at the inside for the next corner. Outsman down in 8th place, only 1.8 seconds back off this group. Dorado pulling out nearly a second over Pixels in third place. Finnell running fourth, but with that 5-second penalty. Psycho a 3-second penalty already for multiple warnings. That's going to hamper his lead out front, but he still will hold it provisionally for the end of the time. Alan making another move against Finnell. Try and have a look, just doesn't have enough speed to compensate for it though. The Williams easily able to pull away off the straights. It's going to be a little bit harder for Alan to get by anywhere. Finnell's going round, possibly a little bit of oversteer coming onto the back straight. He will have the DRS still from being close enough to Pixels. Finnell having a look to the inside, easily able to get past the Williams higher speed, being a much bigger advantage on this track. Gaining very heavily to the back of Pixels, nearly running to the back of the Aston Martin. Alan's going to be there once again, and the McLaren still trying to find a way past and keep the position against him. Finnell pulling to the right hand side of the track, left hand on the screen to get past Pixels, easily making that move before the corner. Pixels falling to fourth. However, 2 of the top 3 still have the 3-second penalties going their way at the end of this race. We're only on lap 4, and there's another car joining in this battle. As now second all the way down to 9th nearly are within the same group. Pixels falling off the road, having to concede the position to Alan, breaking aboard, 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Possibly having a look for pit lane. No, dives out of it last second. There goes Houseman through the side of the final corner against Pixels on the medium compound. Jumping back up to the fourth, third place. Alan is still going to be behind the Williams of Finnell. Having another look, Curly retiring from the session on track and leaving. That hopefully shouldn't bring out any safety car. Will cause a caution through Sector 1 for a little bit. Back on board with Alan, a little bit too aggressive on the throttle coming up the corner, getting the wheel spun up again. Have a look to the inside, favourite type of move to make it up. However, not going to have enough acceleration or speed. Will have the DRS against the Williams though, and this time it is much better. Not enough battery, and Finnell moves over a little bit, causing a bit of a swerve for Alan. Here comes the Haas as well, a blow up to fourth place. Going to be on the inside, heading to the chicane. Easily making it. Finnell has to run off again. Bit of contact possibly between Houseman and Haas. Haas getting a little bit unstable off the corner. Houseman getting a better run towards the Alpine behind of OJ, who is flying. They're going to be potentially going 3 wide heading into turn number 10. Very far off the road there for Houseman. We're conceding a lot of positions, going down to 10th. Binnell all the way down to 7th as well. Dorado still holding in 2nd place. Allen up to 3rd, and there's a bit of a gap going behind as Blas in 4th. And Mulder from last has come up to 5th already. Houseman, a 5-second penalty for speeding in pit lane, going for an earlier first stop on lap 6. He got off these medium compound tyres, potentially moving over to the hard or for wing damage. Going to be a hard strategy to come back, especially with that 5 seconds. His teammate as well with the floor damage, and not going to be a very good race for Red Bull as it stands. OJ, a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Track limits can be very deceptive here. Of course, you have miles of runoff from the large off-track tarmac areas, but you still have to stay within the white lines at the edge of the circuit because the walls are so far away. The drivers are a little bit falsely secured with how big the track is. Moving up there, here comes Al having another look for 2nd place now against Dorado. The inside of the chicane. Dorado somehow holds the outside, but so does Allen for the second part of it. Running off the track a little bit on the throttle, potentially a little bit too aggressive, but that's a huge gap. Already half a second between 2nd and 3rd place. Mulder also will move up into 4th, getting past the Haas of Blah. The Ferrari much quicker in a straight line. Not many positions left for the Ferrari to get into the top positions. Allen having a look against Psycho for the lead. Psycho's tires possibly worn down just a little bit, as well as the setup not looking to be the same as the McLaren. Allen getting a much better run out of the corner, but still very aggressive on the throttle. The AlphaTauri though on the overtake, possibly getting a much better 2nd stage of acceleration towards the corner, even against the McLaren with the DRS. But Allen's having a look down the inside. He's going to be there. He's going to be ahead for turn 1. And Psycho, after 6 laps, will lose the lead in turn 1 on lap 7. Not too far behind is going to be Dorado. Pixels, as well as somebody else getting a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Dorado as well is going to have the DRS against the AlphaTauri, but with how quick that car was against the McLaren, even with the DRS on the straight, you could see a very quick car running down the straight. Both cars getting very close to each other, heading into the chicane. It's not going to be close enough though. Dorado having a look against Psycho, having a potential look around the outside, not going to make it, but a much better acceleration out the chicane. OJ, a 10-second penalty for corner cutting, potentially missing the chicane. He's going from bad to worse for Alpine. Dorado still having a look anyway. Psycho understeers just a little bit on the corner. Might have to brake a little bit earlier. Dorado looks to the inside. Little bit of rear end, not what you want to have happen around turn 11, sorry. He's still going to be there. He's going to have to go the long way round. Unless he tries any move he goes for the switchback. Psycho's out wide, he's going to be left there, but he will have the extraction still. Psycho defending for his life, trying to keep the podium positions. He is still carrying the penalty, but will try anything he can to keep his position. Whether or not it will be enough, we'll have to see later in the race. We still have another 20 laps to go following this one. Allen, 2.7 seconds up the road, but up 3. Or 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, all within half a second. Here comes Dorado having a look on the inside. Psycho's still going to hold around the outside. The Hasselblad's going to be there as well, potentially putting on a challenge. Didn't look to be a too great run there for Psycho coming out of turn number 2. Gonna have to be careful on the track limits as well. Slight bit of a corner cut heading through turn 3. As Apex getting disconnected, presumably Houseman at 133.0. New fast lap of the race. Off track again there for Psycho, we just seen. Here comes the Mercedes, going to have the DRS open once again down the straight. Will it be enough heading into the chicane? He is gaining all the way up to this car. Out in front of me, he's going to pull alongside the AlphaTauri. Sassy, 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, braking hard, not much space there. Here comes Mulder as well against the AlphaTauri. From nowhere it looked like. From the back of the grid up to 3rd place already and starting the hunt all over again for 2nd. Pulling down the field just a little bit more. Finnell getting under attack from Blah. Pixel's also delivering into the back of the Haas. Just ahead of him, Finnell, another 3-10 penalty for multiple warnings running off the track. Just ever so slightly, we've seen a little bit better of a run there from Blah, trying to stop any move he can. Apex getting back into the session. Not a very good race for Red Bull, currently down in 10th and 11th. Only going to be 1 point hitting that team as things stand. Mulder getting past Dorado for second place. The RS overtake easily down the start-finish straight. OJ English and Treeboy in 5th and 6th also on the charge up into the higher point swing positions, trying to find down Psycho any way they can. Dorado with 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. What is usually the curse of the commentator is now the curse of the Twitch chat. As soon as I see the chat from D7 cheering on Dorado, a penalty heads the way of the Mercedes. Couldn't be any worse times there for you, D765. I think Mulder had a bit of an issue coming into the chicane. Dorado was momentarily getting ahead. There's a yellow flag out in Sector 1 for the spun Aston Martin of Sash. He's able to get going again, but down in 14th place. Things starting to just quiet down a little bit in this stage. However, as we say that, OJ is having a look against Blah any way he can, not Blah, sorry, against Psycho, getting down the inside. Those soft copper tires on the outside must be getting warm, but he's going to come back to better acceleration out of the corner. It will set him up a little bit better for turn 14 if he can keep it there, though he has to brake a little bit in the corner more than he would like to. He will also have the Alpine with DRS going to be behind him, and it looks about equal launch out of the corner. OJ with very little battery. You can see on the steering wheel the orange bar at the very bottom. He is on the overtake, however there is nothing in that battery left. He will get by into turn 1 though, easily against the AlphaTauri of Psycho. And here comes Treeboy as well, typing down the inside and hanging it right the out for turn 2. Holding the lead for 6 laps, however is now stalling down to 6th place. Psycho will have to think about coming into pit lane soon, as those tires are starting to betray him. Mulder has 6.2 seconds to catch on Allen for McLaren up at top. Now the hunt is on for Treeboy, half second between him and the Alpine ahead. OJ is carrying 13 seconds penalties already. Another one to watch down though is Blah getting past Psycho, moving up to 6th place, and Psycho down into 7th. AlphaTauri driver struggling as the stage of the race goes on. As there is a momentary lull in the action, we'll take a look at the previous winners. D765 was the previous winner here in Season 5. Unfortunately, not on the grid with us today, as Psycho does get back past Blah temporarily, however, into pit lane for the AlphaTauri driver to get off of those worn soft compound tires. Season 4 was won by SOGN Impulse and the 2021 Summer Series by Wolfram24. Apex currently running in 10th place on the first FVC race here in Season 2. As Finnell, a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, up to 12 seconds now for him. Well, it might not be a great day for Mercedes. It is also not going to be a good day for championship contenders of Houseman and Broughton. 10th and 13th. Very few points on offer in those positions. In fact, there's only going to be 1 down for 10th place. Houseman will be getting 2 if things were to end as they are now. He is holding the fastest lap, to my knowledge. In fact, the Red Bulls swapping around positions. Apex running with floor damage after a incident at the start of the race which took out Alexian, involved himself and a few others. Got the field a little bit. There's a few cars on track looking to be the Alfa Romeo of Treeboy, catching ever slightly up to the back of the Haas of Blah. Red Bulls are close to each other, but I do not see Apex challenging Houseman too much. Houseman still has that 5-second penalty if he does stop again, which he might. He got off the mediums very early in the race. And speeding in pit lane did give him that 5-second penalty to the end. Bit of an update here, and Ben got caught out by traffic, apparently. So that will definitely be going against him for the remainder of this race. Comes OJ, the DRS wide open, having the outside though against Dorado, heading towards the chicane. Will be able to make that pass very easily. Their assistance very powerful, especially with a low drag car. We'll see if Dorado can do anything about it. He did get a better launch out of the corner. That gap is going to be coming down. However, very low battery as well for Dorado. France being a track where there are not many chances to regen your electrical energy. The long straights only serving to drain your battery even further than it already is. You have to be careful though, as the more Dorado goes for OJ, as Dorado gets a 5-second for speeding in pit lane, that will leave OJ and Treeboy to continue the battle for third place. The gap up the front is only extending. Mulder now 7.7 seconds back from Allen. Conditions do look to be getting a little bit more grey. Of course, I don't have any access to weather radars as it stands. With how the conditions are progressing, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the appearance of rain near the end of this race. Down, Houseman getting past Pixels for 7th place, and moving up to 6th, getting past Finnell on the outside. Soft compound tyres for Houseman. I think he's going to have to be stopping again, considering how early he went in lap 6 for that tyre change. Finnell struggling with these tyres. Very, very obvious corner cut there, trying to stay ahead of Pixels, who's now got the Red Bull of Apex gaining all the way down the straight. DRS wide open. That Red Bull's got a lot quicker in a straight line, but does have floor damage, so might not be able to stop as easily. Somehow does get it. Finally, another 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. As it goes in sector 2 for that car, is backwards and getting reset to track, falling down to 9th place. Also here up near top, Treeboy and OJ getting very close to each other. That gap was nearly only 40 milliseconds at one stage. Much better exit for the Alfa Romeo of Treeboy from the corner. Alpine not able to get the power on as easily, but will have the DRS assistance down the straight. Here he comes. He's going to have a look down the inside potentially for turn 1. A very late move there. Another yellow flag for Finnell, spinning again. OJ goes down the inside. Sass through some multiple warnings, and OJ it's easily up through into 3rd place. However, that 13-second penalty, he's going to have a monumental task to make that back if he wants to stay up there. Of course, as it stands, he'll only be falling down to potentially 5th place, as Finnell a 5-second for speeding in pit lane. That's 20 seconds, and he's retiring in pit lane. Also into pit lane goes Pixels for the Aston Martin team. Not a very good race so far for Williams. Look on board, that Alfa Romeo is absolutely flying down the inside of OJ back into the chicane. Going to be side by side, but he's going to be easily able to take that inside line through the corner. OJ probably a little bit better. Soundbaker, 3 seconds for multiple warnings again. These two trading places with the slipstream and the DRS consistently. I think that Williams car is coming back out onto track. Unfortunately, the car not stopping. Falling just a little bit. Conditions look to be consistently getting just that bit worse around the track. DRS open once again for the Alpine of OJ English down the start finish straight. Not going to be close enough this time to make a move down into turn 1. Treeboy will be able to keep ahead in the Alfa Romeo. However, will that remain the same as they come down now into turn 3, 4, and 5, moving up into the second sector. Another DRS zone coming their way. And even gaining before the DRS zone. OJ with the slipstream, a little bit better of an exit through the corner. DRS now open. You see how much that does help. Looking back from Treeboy's car, that looking easily able to get on the inside. However, it's raining. The rain is here. It's not going to be lasting too much longer on these slick compound tires. This could play right into the strategy for any of the soft compound runners at this moment. Anyone that start on the mediums as well, who has yet to make a stop, could be benefiting hugely from this. Treeboy easily able to stay ahead. Apex disconnected from the session again. These two are still going to be right on top of each other. Although the rain has only just started, it will be another lap or two before it is wet enough. In fact, it already looks to be getting quite wet. Might be enters very soon indeed. The top's already going in. Allen's in, as well as the Ferrari of Mulder. Treeboy is staying out. No, he is going in, crossing over the pit lane lines. OJ also in. Conditions progress from dry to wet very quickly. Also crossing over the pit lane lines there was Houseman from the looks of things, heading into pit lane. Here comes Eldorado staying out. No, coming in at the last second. DRS disabled. Here comes Apex. Also over the lines. They're all deciding very late, but Blast stays out on the hardcomb tires. Psycho also goes in. Next is going to be Sam Baker, not able to turn, goes into pit lane. Here comes Pixels, the next one up. Also dives for it. Only 2 cars starting to stay out, or 1 car starting out of Blah on the hard compound tires. A very big strategy blunder as it is. Apex getting back into the session. His AI already going in. Broughton understeers as well into pit lane. Sass already on the intermediates as it stands, but that is every single car bar the Haas out on inters, and that's a huge gain for Allen, who's now 10 seconds ahead up at the top of the field, and conditions are treacherous. Mulder, after starting in 16th, up in 2nd place. A very impressive drive for the Ferrari debutee. Three-second penalty for Sass, multiple warnings. Allen pulling up to the back of the Aston Martin of, I'm pretty sure that is Sass, judging by the number. Not able to see quite as much. Down Blah finally bites and heads into pit lane, staying out a lap too long on the hard compound tires. Apex and Psycho swapping positions down for 7th place. Apex still running with a lot of floor damage. It's going to be very horrible to try and drive that car in these conditions with the amount of damage that it does have. Also a report as well from Finnell's car. He got floor damage at the start of the race from an incident. Apparently he's claiming that was caused by the Red Bull of Houseman. A little bit too deep from the brakes there for Treeboy in the Alfa Romeo. He's going to have to hope to try and get better activity. He doesn't. He swerves very much too aggressive on the throttle. OJ's going to take advantage of that. Easily moving up into 3rd place for the Alpine driver. gap at the front of the field staying around 10 seconds in favor of Allen. Even with this battle, as things stand, OJ is only going to be falling down to about 4th or 5th place. Gaps around the field are spreading quite large. In fact, these two are the only two cars within a second, even within only 2 seconds of each other. No DRS for the rest of this race. Psycho, a 3 second for multiple warnings, up to 6 seconds in total for him. Whether or not OJ finishes in 4th or 5th is entirely dependent on the race that Houseman has from here on out. The Alfa Romeo in the dry conditions does seem to be a little bit of a faster car, but that lower downforce setup is going to struggle now through the corners. OJ is now about a second ahead of the Alfa Romeo. Gap coming down ever so slightly as come down the straight into the chicane, now down to about 7.5 tenths. The Alpine seeming more suited to these conditions. Running the higher downforce, definitely helping it through the corners and a little bit in the acceleration zones around the corner as well. Of course, it is entirely dependent on the driver whether or not they can keep it stable for the rest of the race. Well, we follow along with this battle. If there's anybody out in the chat watching live on the race day, do throw out any names you want me to follow along with for the drivers that are still running in the race. Anyone between Allen and Sass for 1st to 13th. Any position as we wait for the battles to come a bit more into focus. Otherwise, we're going to be staying along with the battle for 3rd place on track between OJ and Treeboy. We might also pop down and have a look for 9th place between the other Alpine of Salmon as well as the Cass of Blah, fighting out for the final points paying positions. While we wait though, we do have a Formula Companion app where you can view all the previous historic results from every single race that was ran in the FVC, be it on the Forza or the F1 side, as well as vote for who you think of the most deserving of the driver of the day. Blah getting up to 9th place ahead of the Alpine of Salmon. Racing penalty as well going for Sam Baker is going to cause that one to be a bit easier for Blah as long as he can keep it there. Apps on screen, the app is available, or the app code, sorry, is on the screen. The app is available on all your app stores, whether you're on iOS, Android, or any other operating system. Also available on PC, however, it is just not quite as easy to use as it is on mobile. Also a reminder, we're going to be having testing for FVGP tomorrow, the new Formula 2 season for FVGP Season 5, the second running of Formula 2 for the category, going to be taking place tomorrow, pre-season testing at Bahrain. Unsure what the broadcast situation is like for that series, however, if there is no other commentator available, I myself will be there doing the broadcast. Not long left in this race to go. All cars are outside of a second of each other as things stand. Treeboy, a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. All he has to do for the end of this race is just keep it on the track and he will be able to potentially take the 3rd place. However, he does have to be careful. That Ripple of Houseman is advancing just ever so slowly. Try and get a bit closer by the end of this race. Sass, a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. We see the ghosted Aston Martin there. Apologies for things just getting a little bit quiet in the more recent stages of the broadcast. Not much is going on in the race. Currently following along the closest battle on track, the battle for third place on track between OJ English, the Alpine, and Treeboy 3 in the Alfa Romeo. There's a yellow flag out in turn 1 for a spun Aston Martin, presumably of Saskia. Well, we've seen that car not too long ago, yielding to the blue flags caused by these two battling for third place. Also to note for this battle, Houseman 212E in the Red Bull is advancing slowly closer to these two cars, fighting it out. As it stands, he will be getting 4th place if the race were to end now due to the 13-second penalty heading the way of OJ. However, he is still outside the 3 seconds he needs to be within against the Alfa Romeo of Treeboy. He did have a speeding in pit lane infraction earlier on in the race that did hinder him for an extra 5 seconds on top of it. As these two get within a second of each other, once again, Broughton catching up back to FV. Pixels will keep an eye on that gap, and Pixels is also carrying a 9-second penalty of his own. In fact, that gap is getting very, very low, so we'll jump on board now with them. Broughton starting 3rd last on this invert race as Pixels runs off the road just a little bit, not able to stop in the wet conditions for the corner. Saskimol retiring from the session on track and leaving. Broughton easily able to get by Pixels for P11. Still no point unless he can move up the 20 seconds. Well, more like 17 or so to get within that Soundmaker. That is going to be a very big ask to the end of this race. Also going to be getting quite close to each other is going to be Bly. He's going to have it then the outside for turn 14. It's a long one to make, especially in the wet conditions, but it easily does make it the Alfa Romeo of Psycho, the Alpha Tauri, sorry, of Psycho, having to yield just a little bit. Gap quickly accelerating to about 1.5 seconds between these two cars. The only one within a second now, once again, is going to be the Alfa Romeo and the Alpine in 3rd and 4th. Gap just stagnating a little bit around 7 tenths of a second. No DRS assistance will mean that it is a little bit harder for Treeboy to catch on these straights. Once again, if there's anyone out in the live chat currently and you want me to ride along for a couple of laps with any of the drivers currently still in the race, do shout their name out and I will jump over to them when the time is available. On toast, a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. He is 11.5 seconds ahead. Will not be going against him in any way unless he has a major issue come the end of the race. Also a 3-second for Apex. Still running with that floor damage. Could be very harsh as Salmon gets another 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. However, Broughton is falling back from that Alpine just a bit, won't be able to get up. However, talking getting up to another car is going to be Treeboy getting very close to the back of OJ. Only 2 tenths there. Or the corner comes up just a little bit. Getting a note as well from the driver of the Aston Martin SAS, apparently disconnected from the race and coming back to the car, just dying. 3 tenths of a second separate Oche and Treeboy. The rain looks to be letting up potentially a little bit in the distance. However, will that affect the end of the race? It is very, very unlikely. Still a lot of spray and the rain is still falling on the track. Broadway 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Going to hamper him just a little bit down in 6th place. Apex just has to keep within 3 seconds of the Mercedes ahead of him now to take 6th place. Boy getting very close on this lap to the back of that Alpine ahead. The Alpine possibly struggling to a little bit with tyres. However, is able to take a bit higher speed through the corners. That could be contributing to the tyre wear just a little bit, forcing more load through them. Still keeping an eye on this gap behind though is going to be 6.2 tenths. The Ferrari ahead though has spun off Mulder. Essentially having to get going again. That's going to be hampering his charge on Alan, which is only increasing as well. If he makes another mistake like that, he could see himself falling victim to the cars behind, which is only going to be 5 seconds, falling even below that, only going to be less than 4 seconds now between Mulder and OJ. Lack of grip slowly coming his way. The rain has stopped. It's going to need to dry out very quickly to see any change near the end of this race. It's going to be very comfortable though for Alan. He is more than likely going to be safe up the front with a 25-second gap on track. 22 seconds after adding on his penalty, and that gap is only going to be increasing as things go. Possibly a bit of damage for Mulder. And that car is going very slowly. Not sure what has happened to that Ferrari. Car is still solid, so it is not in AI mode. However, now OJ is within half a second of it. Mulder could lose his podium position on track as things stand. It is back up to speed. It isn't suffering from low fuel mode. Whether or not that car has had a failure or damage of some sorts is very unknown, but it is struggling around the corners and struggling to get out of the straights. Only less than half a second now for OJ. Depending on what's happened to the Ferrari, the podium position could be safe for all of them. Ben, only 5 seconds back, you can just about see that car in the background. Brought in 3 seconds for multiple warnings. Very poor exit for the Alpine there. Ferrari getting a much better run down the start-finish straight. These cars moving on to lap 26. Not long remaining in this race as things stand. Even if it does dry out now, I doubt we'll see any cars making any moves. Apex is within 7 tenths of a second of Dorado ahead. However, he will still get that position on penalties. OJ now only 3 seconds behind that Ferrari. We could potentially see something happen on the straight between these two, depending on the launch this corner that the Alpine gets. And it looks about equal between these two. Ferrari getting into a little bit more on the second stage of acceleration. Dorado still pulling ahead of Apex, but Mulder pulls off the line, trying breaking the slipstream, trying to cool down the tyres. But still, that Ferrari is quicker in a straight line than the Alpine. However, it doesn't have the braking and the turning from the looks of things, as that gap comes immediately right back down in favour of OJ. Alan making his way around the final corner, nearly 30 seconds ahead of these. He's going to be starting the final lap within the next couple of seconds. Time is going to be running out of this race for all parties involved. Mulder will be holding on just as much as he can. He does have the penalties going his way in favour. Houseman can see that 4th place coming up as well. He's within 3.5 seconds now of Freeboy. Once again, a very poor exit out of the corner for the Alpine of OJ. Going down the straight once again, looks to be about equal between the Ferrari and the Alpine. OJ getting just a slight bit of a worse run. That Ferrari looking to be quicker, ever so slightly in the straight line. However, that slipstream is going to be there. OJ is better on the brakes and better on the turning. Will he have a look down the inside? Stays behind, taking the earlier braking for the chicane. That may be his only chance to get second place on the road. He is carrying that penalty and he doesn't want to risk anything. Houseman is within the 3 seconds he needs to be. Oh, Treeboy, he'll be moving ahead of both these two cars up into third place. Going down the start-finish straight, Alan in the McLaren will going to be winning the race with a 30-second gap to second place. On the track, though, things are still going to be very, very tight. Mulder fighting for his life, trying to do anything he can to take second on the road. 2 tenths and 3 tenths now separate these two. Only 2 corners remain. Mulder does get the better launch at the final corner. We have seen every single lap, but he has one more chance to get it right. One more chance. It's a worse launch than usual, but he will still take second place on debut for Ferrari. Even carrying that 3 second, it won't matter too much for him, but he might be potentially losing second place to Ben, and he does. Third place debut for Ferrari. Houghton will take second from near the back of the grid. Mulder on third. Treeboy takes fourth and Houseman in fifth. Dorado now coming for sixth place, but Aikman is going to be right there. He will still be getting it on penalties, however. Blah is only going to be 2 seconds behind the Red Bull, and that's a very poor launch. A lot of wheel spin coming out of the final corner for the Red Bull. He will get ahead of Dorado, but he will get passed by Blah and lose sixth place that he fought so hard for. It's going to be 6th for Blah, 7th for Apex, and 8th for Dorado. And rounding the final corner again, the Alpine of Salmon will take 9th place. Paul Sitter Psycho, after leading for 6 laps, will take the final remaining point for AlphaTauri. Pixels finishing a lap down in 12th place. The final car, championship contender Broughton, after a terrible race, will be pointless in 11th. Once again, we do have a Formula Companion app. The results code is on the screen. You can vote there for who you think is driver of the day. I have a very good feeling who will be getting it from the game, but I'm surprisingly incorrect, as Mulder doesn't get it, right, coming from one position further back. However, and Mulder both very much deserving. Another win at the top of the table for Alan, the American, making very, very good progress up the top of the field, winning a number of races in only a very short amount of time. Second place going the way of Houseman 212E, and third place, a podium on debut for LCR Mulder 28 in Ferrari. Well, for the first time of FVC Invert, it was a very, very interesting race. The starting stage of it going very well for some and very wrong for others. Alan takes the win from 10th on the grid. Houseman 212 will take second place, extending the lead of the championship just a little bit, I think, but losing ever so slightly to Alan. Fastest lap means he gets 19 points, and Mulder from last on the grid up to third place on debut for Ferrari. Fourth place goes the way of Treeboy 53, 5th to OJ English, and 6th to Playappa 5169 in Haas. 7th for Apex, suffering floor damage the entire race, and 8th to Dorado, who wasn't expecting rain, according to strategy calls and chat in the stream channel. 9th place goes the way of Simon Baker, and the final point, our pulse hitter, is Psycho. 11th place to Broughton, 12th to FV Pixels, 13th for Sasky Mole, 14th for Finnel, 15th for Curly, and 16th for Alexi.